worth paying close attention to because it's fundamental to Lord Chaitanya's teaching. And we can say this, the teachings of Lord Chaitanya are the teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam, or the teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam are the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. There's no difference. They're the same. And there is a relationship of oneness and difference. So the first of the two is the oneness, that's text 30, and the second of the two is the difference. You put the two together and you have Vachinta Beta Beta Tattva. So this is foundational teaching. Here's some verses from Bhagavad Gita where the same idea is touched on. Some of the commentators have identified this set of verses as Aishvarya Gyan, so the knowledge of the Aishvarya, the opulence of the personality of Godhead, and all things in this material world are in relationship with Him. And that understanding is Aishvarya Gyan. So, please explain. All beings are in me. Everything that is created does not rest in me. Verse number 4, verse number 5. Achinta Beta Beta Tattva paradox. Beta is important for respect or reverence. It awakens Dashirasa. Abeda, we need this oneness for a closer, loving relationship. Nice understanding. Foundation for the intimacy of love. Both oneness and difference have to be there. And therefore it's the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Aishvarya Gyan stimulates reverence and devotion if one has faith. So here's number 4, text 4. Maya tatamidam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina. Is avyakta murti, is unmanifest form. By me in my unmanifest form, this entire universe is pervaded. The oneness. All beings are in me. Then the difference. But I'm not in them. I pervade the whole universe, and this is commentary, in my form. It's the Avyakta Murti, Baladev Vidyabhusan's commentary, which is invisible to materialize, and simultaneously all entities are within me, but I am not in them. It's perplexing, isn't it? The analogy. So Baladev Vidyabhusan uses the analogy. The sun is all pervasive. Where is there where there's not sunshine? Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu describes this in Madhya Lila chapter 17. Therefore, material senses cannot appreciate Krishna's holy name, form, qualities, and pastimes when a conditioned soul, material senses can't perceive and appreciate those things. When a conditioned soul is awakened to Krishna consciousness and renders service by using his tongue to chant the Lord's holy name and taste the remnants of the Lord's food, the tongue is purified, and one gradually comes to understand who Krishna really is. Gradually, too gradually, very, very gradually. So we cannot perceive the Avyakta Murti, although the Avyakta Murti is there. So how can the Avyakta Murti be perceived? How can you verify that it's there? By purified senses. Now, okay, how do you purify the senses? Engaging the senses in the service of the Supreme, or the Master of the senses. Bhakti. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam. And purification, 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 purification. Gradually, purification. And gradually one can understand who Krishna really is. So it's disclosed in chapter 9, this Avyaktamurti topic, and it's going to go a little bit further. Just as those who are greedy to see everything as a source of money-making, the most perfect devotees see Lord Krishna everywhere. According to one's disposition, one gets colored vision, and one sees anything as an opportunity to make money. Similarly, devotee sees any opportunity to perceive Krishna. Behold, my mystic opulence, text number 5. Na cha mastani bhutani pashyame yogam aishvaram. And yet everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence. I am not, although I'm the maintainer of all living entities, and although I am everywhere, I am not a part of this cosmic manifestation. For my self is the very source of creation. So this is the oneness and difference. Clear? Just stated in this particular way in chapter 9, Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada's comment. When we hear that everything is resting upon Krishna, we should not imagine him to be something like Atlas in the Greek mythology, holding up the globe on his shoulders and looking very tired. So if that's not it, what is it? Krishna is aloof from the material creation simply by his supreme will. Everything is carried out perfectly by his inconceivable energies. That's the process. Icha Shakti, the willing potency of the Supreme, and then sub-Shaktis carry out that will. It all starts with willing. Same for living entities. And our relationship with Krishna, we are making choices or willing this, that, and the other thing, and then this, that, and the other thing by reciprocation from Krishna manifest. He is different from this material manifestation, yet he is present personally. This is his mystic power. Notice Paramatma with electrons zooming around him. It's like a nice image. Whoops. And the living beings are not in me. See my inconceivable power. I maintain them and protect them, but I am not in them. My mind maintains and protects them. My mind. So this is Isha. But his willing potency is what maintains. So, and therefore, by his willing potency, his subpotencies, and by his subpotencies, they're maintained. Now, the souls are eternal. That's not the maintenance. The stuff, facilities for fill in the blank, are supplied through the agency of Krishna's willing potency. He doesn't have to lift a pinky, but his potencies do everything, and on the strength of his willing potency. So he's in one place. Everything is resting in him, but he's not in them. It's a nice fundamental understanding. Yoga is defined as the means by which something very difficult is accomplished. Yujate. Yoga thus refers here to the Lord's form, endowed with inconceivable Shakti, whose quality is that his every desire is fulfilled without effort. So another way of saying his willing potency is Satya Sankalpa Shakti. Satya Sankalpa Shakti. He does, his intention is, and like the Bible says, God said, let there be light, and there was, and it was good. Same idea, just different way of saying the same thing. Without the science, the principle is just fine. Just fine. I maintain and protect all beings. Bhutabrit. But have no contact with them at all because my mind, mama, atma, takes care of them. Bhutabhavana. My mind, that's like his willing potency, feeling willing. So his willing, or Satya Sankalpa Shakti, does it all because he's like a loving father and he doesn't leave them abandoned, doesn't create them and say, good luck, guys. Free for all. An ongoing fashion. I maintain and protect them by my extraordinary yoga, by my Satya Sankalpa Shakti. I do not have to act with my body to do this. And now comes a Upanishadic support. By the command, this is a quote, by the command of that imperishable Lord Ogargi, the sun and moon remain in their positions. By the command, that's the Satya Sankalpa Shakti, of that imperishable Lord Ogargi, heaven and earth remain in their positions. Now, scientists do laws of gravity and what the forces that hold the universe in place, and you can look at things from that angle. But behind that one, behind that one, behind that one, behind that one, the ultimately is the Vedic perspective of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is maintaining and supporting everything. Krishna's determination is itself actual fact. So again, this is another way of saying the Satya Sankalpa Shakti. We may think of doing something, but there are so many impediments, and sometimes it is not possible to do as we like. But when Krishna wants to do something, simply by his willing, everything is performed so perfectly that one cannot imagine how it is being done. Now that's Bhagavad Gita. Now we're going to be discussing two verses that speak on the same point, but the way of expressing them is a little different. The oneness of Krishna with all things. Krishna alone exists in all phases of time, another way of saying the same thing. So here's text 30. Ekastvam eva jagat etam is the beginning part of this phrase, or this verse. My dear Lord, Prahlad to Nrsimha Deva, you alone, this is ekam, etad ekam, manifest yourself as the entire cosmic manifestation. For you existed before the creation. You exist after the annihilation. And you are the maintainer between the beginning and the end. All this is done by your external energy through actions and reactions of the three modes of material nature. Therefore, whatever exists externally and internally is you. This is the oneness. Not yours, it's you alone. Now, the very same understanding, no surprise, is one of the Chatur Shloki verses of the entire Bhagavatam. 2, 9, 31. Those Chatur verses, Chatur Shloki verses, are fundamental, the 4 fundamental verses that the rest of the Bhagavatam rests upon. There are different verses like that in the Bhagavatam. Those are especially important. Ahamivasam eva agre. Nanya yet sad asad, sad asad. Param. Just like the verse that we discussed yesterday, the 13:22 verse of Bhagavad Gita. Sad asad. Yoni janmasu. The living entities are the creator of their good fortune, ill fortune, or the way Prabhupada is translated as good and bad. Prior to the cosmic manifestation, only I exist, and no phenomena, that's material energy, exist, either gross, subtle, or primordial. After creation, only I exist in everything, and after annihilation, only I remain eternally. So that's an important fundamental teaching in the entire Bhagavatam, and it's being touched upon here by Prahlad in his prayers. Here's a very similar verse. It's not the same, but it's a very similar verse from Madhya Lila. Although very ferocious, the lioness is very kind to her cubs. Similarly, although very ferocious to non-devotees like Hiranyakashipu, Lord Nrsimha Deva is very, very soft and kind to devotees like Prahlad Maharaj. So, there's this verse is something similar to yesterday evening's verses. The oneness, the non-partiality. It has everything to do with the regard that Hiranyakashipu has and that Prahlad have towards the personality of God. It's starkly different. And therefore the behavior or the energetic disposition of the Supreme towards those two extremes is quite contrastingly different. The oneness and difference. I hope you see the connection between the Achintya Beta Beta Tattva philosophy and how the Lord is impartial, and how he deals with Prahlad the way he deals with Prahlad, how he deals with Hiranyakashipu the way he deals with Hiranyakashipu. Prabhupada writes in his purport to this verse, the activities of the Lord are transcendental because to create the cosmic manifestation, Govinda, that's up top in the illustration, Govinda expands his external energy and enters into everything in this universe, and in this way he exists in the entire cosmic manifestation. So the point is, he's different. And yet, although he's different, he enters into it, and it appears that he's part of it. The classic example is the spider, because the spider makes a web from his saliva, and he weaves the web, and then he comes around and moves around in the web. And then spiders can then withdraw the web back into their mouth, and the web is gone. Or at least, they can move around in it. And while they move around in it, they're not the web. Although the web is nothing but from the body of the spider. This is how spiders used to catch their prey and do what spiders do. So that's a material comparison, or nature's way of helping us understand how Krishna interacts with his own energies, the material creation. From the Chandogya Upanishad, Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. This is a big topic, very profound philosophical topic. It divides impersonalist and personalist. It's one of the verses that young Ramanujacharya differed and had like disagreement with his teacher, who was a Mayavadi teacher. So I guess Sarvam Kalvitam Brahma. So Vaishnavas have, it's an Upanishadic verse, so it's true. And there are different ways of understanding it. One is personal, the other is impersonal. So this is saying everything is one. That's how the impersonal take it. But another is the energy and the energetic are one, and so everything is one. But there's a distinction between the energy and the energetic. Chandogya Upanishad. Or another phrase, another Upanishadic phrase. Ekastvam eva jagat etam. You are everything. So that has an impersonal, and it can have this very same Vaishnava picture, more specific Bhagavad Dharma picture, or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu followers picture of the relation, the oneness and difference of all things with the source. And one can emphasize the oneness. One can emphasize the difference. Or one can acknowledge inconceivably, simultaneously one and different. Very clever. But it can be explained and unpacked and made very clear. Now here's a connection between 30 and 31. Again, the topic is oneness and difference. While everything is one, the Supreme Lord, in relation with the Supreme Lord, yet everything is separate from the Lord. This is the understanding of oneness and difference. Okay, so here's the difference. Krishna remains aloof from the entire cosmic manifestation. And to help us understand it, there's examples, 1, 2, 3, 4. A seed in a tree, or the cause and effect. So once the seed matures and it becomes a tree, where's the seed? No longer visible. But in one sense, the tree is but a mature stage of the seed. So the tree doesn't exist without the seed. But the seed giver is aloof from the entire cosmic manifestation. The seed in a tree, the cause and effect, the tree and the tree on fire. So within a tree, there's fire, but fire stored. You don't see the fire until you ignite the tree, and then, yikes. So this is this Avyaktamurti, the unmanifest feature by which Krishna pervades everything. One way of understanding it is like the fire that's stored within the tree, and the tree, or the tree that's on fire, and the tree that's not on fire. Similarly, so all this is philosophical, but it's valuable for us to understand, important and valuable. Phases of time are under the control of the Supreme Lord, thus different from him. Now, he and time are identical. We heard this yesterday. Time I am. And then there's the phases of time, past, present, or future. So there's eternal time, that's Krishna. There's past, present, or future. The past, present, or future time is under his control, but different from him. Because for him, there's no past, present, future. It's like a shell game. You know what a shell game? And here's a bunch of shells, and which one has the P underneath the shell, and you move them around, and that one. No, not that one. Anyway, it's It seems like a game. So let's go on. Text 31. Here's the Sanskrit. Here's the translation. My dear Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, the entire cosmic creation is caused by you, and the cosmic manifestation is an effect of your energy, although the entire cosmos is but you alone, you keep yourself aloof from it. The conception of mine and yours is certainly a type of illusion, Maya, because everything is an emanation from you, and therefore is not different from you. Indeed, the cosmic manifestation is not different from you, and the annihilation is also caused by you. One is indifference. So here's a nice illustration. Text 31, this commentary, the relationship between your lordship and the cosmos. This is this commentary, this is the verse. And the cosmos is illustrated by the example of the seed and the tree, or the subtle cause and the gross manifestation. So here's some different trees. Of course, seasonally they're going to show all these nice colors, and not all year round, but in right season they're showing these colors. There's this tree, that tree. There's the same earth, and within, one can say, within the earth, there's the color yellow, there's the color red, there's the color white, there's the color pink, there's this color, that color. We don't see that color in the earth, but seeds can manifest this color, that color, the other color. And then the tree manifests the color, and the tree comes from the seed. So one could take it back in time and say, within the seed, there's all these potential, at least, colors. Everything exists in time, and the three phases of time factor, past, present, future, are one. Every day, the time factor is experienced as morning, noon, and evening, and everything taken together as one. Prabhupada's purport. Everything passes through time's phases, past, present, future, and yet the Lord is always the same. He is Nitya, Shashvata, eternal and permanent. Got it? It's all acting under him. He's not influenced by past, present, or future, but it doesn't happen except through him. Past, present, future. And for most people, he's invisible. So you talk about all this philosophy, okay, you sentimentalists, you see things that nobody can see because you're just sentimentalists. Baladev Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has this commentary. Keshava Tuya Jagat Vichitra. My dear Lord, your creation is full of varieties. There's no difference between one thing and another, yet in varieties there are differences. In this regard, Madhvacharya gives an example concerning a tree and a tree on fire. Both trees are the same, but they look different because of the time factor. Looks like on the upper part, that's a nice Christmas tree. And then there's the tree that burst into flames. The time factor is under the control of the Supreme Lord, and therefore the Supreme Lord is different from time. Now, yesterday we heard time I am, like a big thing about time I am, it's non-different. But no, there's difference, and there's non-difference. So to understand it can be perplexing. I'm going to use the restroom for just a minute. Because the concept is subtle, it takes a little bit going over it and going over it and going over it and going over it. And then examples to look at the same subject from a different angle and a different angle. But the Chinta Beta Beta Tattva philosophy is essential, and it's subtle. And it's not easiest thing to understand. Okay. There's implications, practical implications, like life, like happiness and distress in life. An advanced devotee doesn't distinguish between happiness and distress. There's a difference, but they don't. They see the difference, but they don't identify with in this way. Distinguish, because what is it? It's just it's a temporary. Now you see it, now you don't situation. Like the winter and summer season, or phases of time, or now you see it, now you don't. That's the shell game. Now you see it, now you don't. Just a few more images here. Here's a nice verse, well-known verse, that's quoted in the purport, where Lord Brahma is offering a prayer to Lord Krishna after his stealing of the calves and cowherd boys and all of that. My dear Lord, Tat Tenu Kampam Susamikshamano, well-known verse. Mukti Pade Sadayabak. My dear Lord, one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds and offering you respectful obeisances with his heart, words, and body, is surely eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim. Now, liberation has different meanings. Mukti, it means, the mukti, one of the very simple, straightforward meanings of mukti is muktir hitvanyata rupam svarupena vyavastati. The simple mukti is cessation of material existence, like nirvana, like a Buddhist, cessation of material existence. But that's incomplete, because when you cease material existence, then what exists? If you're a Buddhist, then it's nothing, or nothingness, because you don't have an understanding of who you really are. But if you have an understanding of who you really are, then somethingness. Or swarupena vyavasati, being situated in one's spiritual form. Real liberation, real mukti. So this is the definition from the Bhagavatam, how to become eligible for no longer misidentifying with what you're not and identifying with what you are as a spiritual entity with spiritual form in relationship with Krishna. That's the target. That's the fruit, mature fruit. As a son inherits the property of his father, similarly, when the devotee is fully Krishna conscious, undisturbed by dualities, he is sure that he will return home back to Godhead, just as one inherits his father's property. Very simple example. And this is our last slide. Everything is one, the Supreme Lord, yet everything is separate from the Lord. This is the understanding of oneness and difference, Achinta Beta Beta Tattva. Directly cut and paste taken from the purport. Now, these text 30 concluding remarks. Text 30-31 are the basis of 32, 33, 34. Like the application of this principle. To understand the principle isn't easy. And then the application of the principle requires the understanding of the principle. So, the teachings of the Bhagavatam, what Prahlada is a little boy, he understands very clearly, and he's saying it to the Supreme Lord for our edification. But it's his emphasis going back, bhakti, bhakti, bhakti. And to understand bhakti, then these are subset understandings that come from the fundamental understanding of bhakti. Say it again. Let's say it the other way. If you have a fundamental understanding of bhakti, then these truths become revealed. Say it the other way. If you don't have a fundamental understanding of bhakti, then these truths are perplexing. It sounds like mumbo jumbo. Is it this or is it that? And how's it simultaneously this and that? And we'll just give it a whitewash and say it's inconceivable. Achinta Beta 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 Tattva. You throw your hands up in the air. Just give me patram pushpam palam toyam. That's all I need. Thank you. This philosophy stuff is too much for me. And then one can take that position. But if you do with bhakti, then bhakti yields these understandings. These are mature understandings of a bhakta Prahlad. And so we may be perplexed to understand this, what to speak of the next 3 verses that are coming this evening. And then the rest of because this is foundational, then he's going to get elaborated upon. He's Bhakta Prahlad. He's giving a nice Bhagavatam class to the personality of Godhead, or for the pleasure of the personality of Godhead. He's Bhakta Prahlad. And he's a little boy, but he's got very profound understanding. That are the fruits of bhakti, pure bhakti. And contemplating what he's saying, again from yesterday evening, we may not understand everything that we hear, but just hear. And it's not like you have to become a PhD. You just hear. And slowly, because it's not intellectual acumen that enables one to understand this. There are many intellectuals that don't understand this. But they're bhaktas that are very, the understanding comes through bhakti. So here with your bhakti ear, and then as one of the purports we read earlier, by material senses cannot perceive transcendence. There's no entrance of material senses into transcendence. It will not happen. Although the sound vibration is spiritual, material senses cannot perceive the spiritual. Even if you're a smart person, it's not being a smart person now I understand. Or if I'm not a smart person, I'll never understand. It's bhakti. That's what enables one to understand. Or not. And gradually, purification through bhakti, gradually, one can understand. Just like the rising of the sun in the morning. Things you can't see in the darkness, you can see when the sun rises. Things are there, you just can't see them in darkness. The sun rises, there's this and that. So the revelation or realization of these teachings of Prahlad, or prayers of Prahlad, comes about gradually as bhakti evolves. So stay in the bhakti program. And then these understandings will become your understanding. Gradually. Okay, so that's the end of this section. And we're ready to see if there's some discussion. And it's 5 minutes to 8 o'clock. Yes.
First of all, I'm grateful for this class because yesterday only one college student who has a training of under Shankaracharya's teachings from childhood, he's trying to understand Vaishnava philosophy, Vaishnava understandings now. So he quoted these two, Tattvamasi and then Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma.
Yeah.
Those two he quoted. And then he was trying to understand how come it is one and different also. From Upanishads it's very, very clear oneness is emphasized. But you mentioned it's emphasized in one place, like that he was telling. So is the misunderstanding primarily because someone doesn't have the understanding from Acharyas, how they can show here it is oneness is emphasized, here difference is emphasized, but we need to look at holistically both of them together. Is that the reason?
That's an approach, but that's an approach. This young fellow may be interested to read the response that Ramanujacharya gave to his teacher on the Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. The teacher said, it's all one. And Ramanujacharya said, a more complete understanding is that he gave an explanation of that same phrase from the Upanishads. So, and the teachings of Ramanujacharya are not identical with the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's an approach that's Vaishnavism, but how you get to Vaishnavism, the approach is different. Vishishta Advaita. Within the Advaita, there's attributes, Vishishtas, which is a different approach than oneness and difference. The end result, Vishnu Bhakti. The way to get to Vishnu Bhakti, this path or this line of disciplic succession, that line of disciplic succession, they differ. So this young man may appreciate hearing Ramanujacharya's explanation to his teacher, and he wrote a whole book on it when he was a young man. So, but now back to your question. Yes, that's one approach. Because there are texts that say both. That the holistic picture is okay, and then there's this. So you want to only look at one? Okay. But there's the other. Now how do you deal with the other? What's the big picture? Because they're both there.
I have a lot of questions, but I will ask one more.
Okay.
So one is he was also quoting Tattvamasi.
Is your button on? I don't hear.
Is it
on?
I think I need to keep it close.
Okay, he's turning the dial. Okay.
So he was also quoting Tattvamasi. I remember reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita, but I don't remember now. If it's appropriate for this class, what does it mean? Okay, sure.
Thou art that. I mean, that's the English phrase. It's the oneness, but unpack the oneness and you have the difference also, because that which comes from the source is not the same as the source. There's a difference between that which comes from the source. It's the same as this young fellow discussion last night. The energy and everything, the expansions and everything that comes from the source is not the source. So there can be a relationship of oneness, and that emphasis is the relationship of oneness. And that which emanates from and that which emanated, they're different.
That makes sense with the example of sun and sunshine.
Yes.
Said, yeah.
Okay. Mahamantra.
Krishna Guru Maharaj, the last point you explained now, this, the emanated is different from source. One person is chanting with me, one Western body, and he says he is not raised as a Christian, but so
the lawnmower behind me is louder than you.
come.
Just speak. You don't have to come. You can come closer. That's okay.
So this one person, Mother Rukmini, introduced, his Western body is. He says he is not a Christian.
I'm sorry. The lawnmower is louder than you.
I'll write to you, Guru Maharaj, then.
Okay. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Thank you for the nice class. I think when you were explaining the Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattvam, it appears that you understand, but you don't understand that. But I think in past, even when we were reading Bhagavad Gita, this concept, when it came, it took a lot of time for us to understand it. But until unless you, as you were mentioning, until unless there is a mercy from the Guru and Acharyas, that the concept you don't understand until as it is revealed by Acharyas. So when you were explaining today, I think the concept we could understand, but the moment we go back and try to apply in our real life, I think today you were giving two nice examples about the tree and the burning of the tree. Until unless that is revealed to you, you don't understand they are same. So that is what I was contemplating about this Achintya Bheda Veda Tattva. And I was questioning myself how this is different from Ramanujacharya's Vishishtadvaitam philosophy.
I use the language as a perspective or a lens through which you look at something. So there's a teaching, Ramanujacharya's teaching is characterized by the terminology Vishishta Advaita. There's Advaita, there's Shuddha Advaita, that's absolute monism. And then Ramanujacharya's teaching says, well, within that oneness, there's attributes, like opulences of the absolute. The absolute is the source. It's absolute. And the absolute has opulences or attributes. Not only, it's attributes of different categories. So then you can, different categories are identified. This attribute, that attribute, the other attribute. It's not only opulences, but attributes. So that's a perspective. And then another is Achintya Bheda Veda Tattva. It's another lens to look at the same thing. Now, the emphasis, as we heard in the earlier section, the intimacy of love that is part of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's way of life, of he and his followers, is enhanced beyond the attributes of, to say there's oneness and difference. As we heard, one, the reverence, and then the intimacy. So, the philosophy, the fundamental philosophy, I'm over answering the question. How are the two compared? It's a different lens, and we went through that, what the lens is. I'm adding, in addition, there's an intimacy in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teaching, emphasis on Vraja Prem. That's not part of Ramanujacharya's teaching. It's Aishvarya, primarily. And, especially most elevated is the very human-like characteristics of Lord Ramachandra. And therefore Ramayana is a very much loved text by Sri Vaishnavas. And looking at it through the lens of Vishishtadvaita, it's lovely. And there's a kind of intimacy that's different than simply Aishvarya. But the difference simultaneously, one and different, nurtures or facilitates Vraja Prem. The philosophical foundation, that is nice to understand. It's not easy to understand, but it's nice to understand. For example, the teaching of Madhvacharya's Dvaitavad, not Vishishta Advaita, but Dvaita. Dualism, a distinction. The oneness with attributes, difference. And then in that line of Madhvacharya came Madhavendra Puri, who exhibited for the first time a feature of love with intense longing and separation. It's not like that doesn't exist anywhere, but he developed it. He personally experienced it, and his teachings reflect it, and his followers follow, further those teachings. And Ishwar Puri, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, following the line of Madhavendra Puri. And thus, Braja Prem. It's just teaching, emphasis of teachings. They're all Vaishnava teachings. They're all correct. It's just a different emphasis of teaching. So your question was, how are they different? Ramanuja's teachings and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings. It's a point of emphasis. And those points of emphasis then nurture or facilitate different types of love of the personality of Godhead. And therefore there's emphasis on this type of love or that type of love. It's not impersonal, it's personalism, it's Vaishnavism, loving service with a particular mood in that loving service and a philosophy that supports that loving mood. Okay? Behind you.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. One thing I really heard for the first time, and I really appreciate the way you related this what we heard today, oneness, indifference, and Lord is impartial, that you discussed yesterday, how they are similar. I think that is one thing I want to take from the class. I never heard that way. Lord is one to everyone. He is not partial in the same way.
Well, I'm not sure what you're saying. Are you saying from yesterday evening the impartiality, although the interaction appears to be partial? That's not the emphasis. That is the emphasis. No, it's not the emphasis.
That is not the, maybe I might not have understood correctly. What I understood, Lord is one, and he has different forms of his energies.
Yeah.
In that way, he's one. It's simultaneously he's
not exactly
different.
I mean, the fact that the energies of the source of energies are diverse is not the beta feature. The beta feature is more the relationship between the energies and the energetic. The distinction between not the diversity amongst the energies, but the distinction between the energies, whatever they may be, and the energetic. Because the energies, like the sunshine, are from the sun. They're inseparable. The guy with the lawnmower, it's inseparable from the source of everything. Sound and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Stuff happens because there's a source of stuff. So there's a non-difference and there's a difference. The energy isn't the energetic. Whatever the diversities are, there's a distinction. The beta is not the varieties, but the distinction between the energy and the source of the energy.
So in the same way, Lord is impartial. Lord is equal to everybody. That is what you tried to correlate both
That was
of.
last night. But you said that's not what your question is.
That is what you mentioned in the class today too. You tried to correlate both of them, I thought. Oneness and the difference, and Lord is impartial.
I'm lost. Do you know what she's saying?
Yes.
That's what you're doing?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I thought you
Well,
mentioned.
it's quite simple. The connection is, here's the energetic, and here's the energy. There's the sun. There's the sunshine, and there's if you're a Sri Vaishnava, there's diversities amongst the sunshine. There are diversities amongst the energy. There are vishishtas, attributes of the energy in relation to the energetic. Now, impartiality is, over here, the sunshine may look like this, and over there, the sunshine may look like that. But it's not the sun is partial this against that. Just the capacity of the receiver of the energy, or that which is coming from the Supreme, the capacity to manifest that diversity is going to be different. But it's not the partiality of the energetic. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay. Mahamantra, you wanted another shot. The lawnmower guys. This is the Tatvamasi guy. No, that was you. Okay. 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 Well, let's clarify. Souls aren't created. So he's speaking the before and after, but during the before, there's no creation. There's nothing to manifest. So we're equal. Within here's the Vishishta part. Within the equality, there's diversity. This particle of light and that particle of light and that particle of light, they're different, although they're light. So there's within, before creation, there's diversity. Not all one before creation. It's not homogeneous. It's all one. No, if that's a Vaishnava perspective, and an impersonal perspective is different. But to answer his question, if I've understood the question correctly, before the cosmic manifestation, when living entities are existing within the body of Mahavishnu, is there diversity within those living entities within the body of Mahavishnu? The answer is yes. And when the living entities are manifest within creation, their bodies are not their diversity. The bodies are something else. bodies and mind. The covering is different than the individual soul, individual soul, individual soul. Okay? Well, you know the answer. Swarupa is diverse. Yes, Parameshwari. Use that magic button. You got to.
Yeah.
Okay, good. We got it.
It's really, really beautiful, Guru Maharaj, actually, hearing these prayers of...
Yeah, speak more directly into the microphone.
It's really beautiful that... is it on?
Yeah, you just hold it in the right angle and we're good.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay. So, the prayers of Prahlada Maharaj, it's really uplifting. And it's really, really beautiful that how... my understanding, maybe please kindly correct me if I'm saying it wrong. It feels like the prayer is like how Prahlada Maharaj is glorifying the Lord, how wonderful the Lord is,
Yeah.
and understanding his own tiny position and expressing his dependency on the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And recently we were hearing in our morning Bhagavatam hearing that one of the purports, I forgot about the canto and chapter, but one of the purport Prabhupada says that Lakshmi Devi says, don't ask anything to the Lord. He knows everything, know what's going on with us. So that pure bhakti, I was just relating it to how just serving the Lord and his devotees. That's how that we develop that pure bhakti. But being in my tiny position, I may have
which position?
Tiny position that
Tiny. Okay.
I may be bewildered by the things that going on in my life. And I approach the Lord to ask for something. But what should be my mood to really, because it's not expressing that no, I wanted to be get rid of this, but it is like I'm bewildered. I'm not able to really move forward from this, and I really wanted to seek see the hand of the Lord in that situations. So how can I approach and how can I place my prayer towards the Lord?
Well, keeping it simple, because simple is much easier than not simple. Like Prahlad. I'm tiny. I'm not qualified. All these honest disclosures. Please be kind upon me and teach me the ways of devotional service. Because that's the medium by which the uncertain becomes certain, or unclear becomes clear, or the path, turn left, turn right, indication is given. And then another is Narada. I want Narada's association. I want the association of, those are prayers. It's not asking, mitigation of something or I'm not understanding something. Please make this something clear. Please let me have the qualification to understand. When you give me the clear, I got it. But that's from bhakti. So it's a prayer for bhakti. And bhakti doesn't mean just keeping yourself busy, because you keep yourself busy. but you're not always understanding everything. So it's bhakti. It's the mood of love and devotion. That's the prayer. There's the answer to your question. And that illumination that comes from bhakti is gradual, like the rising of the sun is gradual. Clarity is gradual. It's a reciprocation from Krishna for the bhakta. That which the doctor couldn't understand yesterday, today they're starting to, there it is. And then then it may go back to unclear. So just keep progressing in devotion. And the prayer goes in that direction. In another added, if you so desire, please reveal what you would like from me. What is the best way that I can be an instrument of your will? That's bhakti. That's love. And it's the best way to get the answer to what you're asking. I'm tiny and I can't understand. I wish to understand. The bhakti is the medium to understand. So that's the kind of prayer. It's a nice lifestyle, bhakti. And it will still do the same things because we have bodies and minds that are the same body and mind. But the experience will be a different experience, depending upon exactly as we heard yesterday, corresponding to one's disposition of service. In love, in devotion. Okay. I think that's it. Srila Prabhupada.